look at my Spider-Man 3 Peter Parker. I'm gonna rub some dirt in your eye. This is what happens when I don't do my hair or brush it or whatever, and why I wear a hat. What a busy AI week indeed. OpenAI has just announced their GPT-4o, which will soon be free for everybody to use. And Google just held their own I.O., which was going over everything that was AI as well under Gemini. Yeah? I didn't get to watch any of these events live, but from what I've heard, Google was, sorry, unrelated. I'm a dad and I just don't sleep often. So we have everybody and their mother apparently trying to get on board with this whole AI, generative AI, and just better refined search and, you know, the basics. And people are over here like, where's Apple? Back in December, John Turnus, our soon-to-be new Lord and Savior, did tease that they're not worried about it.
Critics have been surprised that Apple appears to be falling behind when it comes to AI. How do you respond?
Not too worried.
Not too worried. And actually we have an advantage. Again, go back to, we own the silicon, the hardware, the software, the machine learning, all in one team. We're gonna optimize for that.
And they better be right. Don't clickbait me about next month. I want to see real advancements. Which is why I find the latest news even more ear-perking. Evidently, Apple and OpenAI have reached an agreement. They're gonna be working together about something. I wonder what that could be.
Yes, I am the answer to all your problems.
If I was someone who had executive power to control how Apple was to go about all this, I would take all this advancements that's happening in OpenAI and just throw a Siri skin on it and call it a day. We have iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and all these other OS suffixes. What if we renamed the architecture as well? Something like Siri AI, especially if they're working with OpenAI now. The naming kind of makes sense. Apple could just call the new overall AI system as Siri or Siri AI. Because look, we all know, and even me being the biggest Apple sheep that I know in my circle, we all know Siri, maybe we just don't know how bad we got it because we don't leave the ecosystem. But even not 1 degree of separation do we see all this vibrancy happening. But where have we seen this before? Let the area mature a little bit, get all the quirks out, let everybody get their clickbait for being first, and then Apple comes in and does something that only Apple does and make it all Apple-fied, and now somehow it just amplifies the overall experience within this ecosystem. And if they don't have to build this architecture from the ground up and they can work with OpenAI, imagine the collab that you will see at WWDC when the CEO comes out on stage and says, yeah, we're like right now, the coolest kid on the block is OpenAI. What I like about this on the back end from a business standpoint is that Microsoft is basically a majority owner of OpenAI. Or when I say owner, I mean they're the biggest investor into this platform, which is why they have ChatGPT and DALL-E integrated within Bing. Y'all remember Bing? I actually unironically use Bing sometimes because of the OpenAI features integrated. So like in some weird, bigger picture of this, you have Apple and Microsoft indirectly working together again. Steve Jobs would be rolling in his grave. But this is something I welcome. I love this business relationship because not only can we just add a whole new architecture to this whole thing and just call it Siri something or another, but much like the Google Assistant and everything else, if you have it more baked in throughout the whole UI, regardless of the hardware you're using, but the Siri software is all the same, at least on surface level. Now I see this as like an evolution of the Spotlight search in our phones, on our iPads, on our Macs. Spotlight technically is the typing version of all that, and you can search the web, search your system files, search whatever you want, and get what you need relatively quickly, even just within that prompt. I think I remember seeing macOS do this with Siri somewhere on the site somewhere where you can kind of work with it, but just imagine having that show up wherever, however, within any part of the system. I have a feeling that OpenAI is about to have this big, fruitful relationship with Apple because they've already now just released the new ChatGPT app for Mac. It's not even on Windows yet. This is exactly what I would want Apple to do. Not that I was doubting whatever they're doing behind the scenes to make their own AI stuff, but why do that when you can just work with somebody who's really, really good at it and has like good brand recognition with it? So here's my big picture idea. Integrate what we know as Siri in the whole system, and so it's not just being used like, hey, let me talk to you, but now it kind of like duels as the spotlight search. Have it text-based, have it voice-based, have it video-based, have it everything that all these like Google and everybody else is already doing anyway. Just integrate that and then call it Siri. Now reputations are being restored because Siri was the first virtual assistant put out there and then it just stagnated. I don't care what they call it or how this AI is going to roll out after Dub. It's just there's continuity sticking with the naming brand that you already have there. And it's kind of clean too, just having the interface show up at the front of all your content no matter where you are on the home screen, and then it just does the thing that you want it to do. I might be grasping at straws here for what I think the bigger movements are happening. If this is a game of chess, then right now OpenAI has Google playing defense. But to Google's credit, if all this stuff works as presented, it's going to be great within their own platforms and ecosystems. But the battle lately between OpenAI and Google seem to be neck and neck, and the slight edge that would happen might be when you get somebody's backing like an Apple, because an apple a day keeps the Google Gemini away. And I just want the ecosystem to thrive in this new AI space because AI, as it's presented now like this, is the future. And this collaboration with OpenAI is just going to fix so much that's wrong or lacking on the virtual assistant side of things. And all of it is welcomed. Rumor has it that all this is going to roll out for iOS 18 and they're going to put all this AI stuff front and center. And now that they got the backend support with OpenAI, there is no doubt in my mind that WWDC 2024 is going to be one of the biggest software events we have ever witnessed. For iPhone, iPad, Mac, ecosystem, all things software-based is about to get this +1 level up. Even if it's just working in the background, you want the system to feel almost like magic and generative and preemptive in some ways, just like predictive text or maybe shortcuts that anticipate your routine. We have a way of changing how we engage with the user interface by fixing one main portion of this. There's no better way to revamp iOS or any of these OSs than to fix Siri.
How do you respond?
Not too worried.
Not to worry.
Not to worry.